Welcome to the next episode of For the Sake of Heaviness. On this episode, we are debuting a brand new segment that we will be doing hopefully once a month that we call Keepers of the Flame. And during this segment, Butch and I are each going to highlight a band that we believe is keeping the true essence of metal alive. What do you think, Butch?
You're damn right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean we talk about this, man. Like this is gonna be the segment for for people that are keeping up with what's going on out there, but also for those of you that maybe aren't sure where to look for new bands, or maybe you don't think that there's stuff beyond, you're wondering where's the next Iron Maiden, or where's the next, Judas Priest, or
Yep.
where's the next Candlemass. Well,
There,
every band's got to start somewhere, and there are a ton of good bands out there right now that are making great music that
100%.
deserve some of the spotlight. A lot of times on these shows, the hosts of these kind of channels, we talk about, we'll talk about the bands we grew up with. We talk about bands, because everyone wants to talk about the bands that we grew up loving, so we're
Sure.
always going to talk about bigger bands. There's always going to your Maidens and Slayer and Metallica, and we were just talking about Trouble, like all the stuff we grew up with. But there's a ton of newer bands that have been coming out
Absolutely.
in the last 10 or so years, 10, 15 years, that are out there, like doing it, man, like making records that are, unbelievable, that are as good as anyone is making.
Definitely. I
So
mean, this
hoping
this
to highlight
segment,
that.
yeah, this segment goes out to all of you that'll sit there and go, "Oh, there ain't any good music anywhere, man." That's
Yeah.
why that's why I listen to Judas
I
Priest
can't
all the
find
time.
anything good. I'm just
There,
going to listen to Turbo again.
yes, Turbo, that's it, because there's nothing good out there. Well, we're gonna prove you wrong. Once a month with two bands, we're gonna prove you wrong. But I agree. There's a ton of bands out there that are keeping the flame alive, keeping metal alive. Good bands, technical bands, very skilled bands. So, Butch, I'm gonna let you kick things off here because I know you got a good one.
All right, man. Well, yeah, this is a band that, man, I guess I started listening to them probably around. Well, I listened to them when their debut came out, and I probably heard the demo stuff ahead of time too. But it really started picking up with their second record. They've put four albums out now. They're from Lancaster, England. They were formed in 2011. It's a band called Witch Hazel.
Yeah,
Um, Dude, these guys are killer. They're definitely one of my favorite bands, hands down, going right now. The last two records have been in my, top two or three records for the years that they were out. Um, with every record, I feel like they get better. They're just one of these bands like that. There's so many bands out there, and it's one of those bands that caught my interest, and they like give me like that feeling that I got from the longtime bands
yeah,
that I love. Like I listen to these records, and it just puts me in another zone. Really, I think they're unique um, for what they're doing. So formed in 2011 in Lancaster, England, and first record. This is Prelude. So this album came out in 2016 on Bad Omen Records. Um, Really good record. It's a solid place to start. Honestly, when it first came out, I think I was a little bit. It wasn't the that it wasn't that I didn't like the vocals. They were just. I think it was the production of this record is a little bit. It's a first album.
right, right,
Um, it's a little underproduced, I think,
sure.
and the vocals are a little bit more on the undercook's not the right word, but Hewitt Colin Hendra, who's the main, he's the singer in the band and the
Hmm.
main songwriter in the band, and also guitar player. Has a tremendous voice. I don't even know how to compare him. If I could compare him to anyone, he's kind of got it's a clean. He's got a clean voice. He can. It's kind of like a mid-range. Soothing isn't the right word, but he just has a really good singing voice. And then he can hit these crazy high notes sometimes. Like but he doesn't he does them just for effect from time to time. It's not like a part of the. It's not like every song he's busting out
Yeah.
these highs, but he has a pretty good range to his voice. Really talented singer, I think, and I think he stands out. Um, he's not as high octane like some of the bands that are out there now have singers that maybe push it a little bit, like are more like the bands that are more like based in like Priest or Maiden and stuff like
Sure.
that. You got guys that are more in the Dickinson Halford kind of
Yeah.
mold. Colin's not really in that kind of mold.
A little bit more
He's
unique.
yeah,
Yeah.
great singing voice. So this record comes out in 2016. The best way to describe these guys honestly is there's a lot of Thin Lizzy going on. They're a double guitar crazy kind of band. But cross that with Wishbone Ash. Like
Wow.
it's got that little bit more instead of the there's a lot of Thin Lizzyisms in their music, but there's also like a pastoral kind of vibe
Hmm.
to their stuff that harkens back to like those Wishbone Ash, like a Wishbone Ash record like Argus
Sure.
or Pilgrimage. Kind of like I don't know if medieval is even the right word, but it's kind of like kind of like epic and kind of like you know, kind of like that. I would
Just
say
gives you
like,
that big grandiose type of vibe,
yeah, I mean, it's
big
kind of
sing
got like a
song.
little bit, like Rainbow would like dip into that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like that old medieval kind of vibe. There's a little bit of that going through it. So you take so it's like Thin Lizzy, Wishbone Ash. There's Maiden is one of their big influences. The
yeah,
band says Jethro Tull. You can hear kind of that crossing through the music. For a current band similar to them, they would fit on the same stage with Seven Sisters. Pagan Altars, another band that's
yeah.
been around a long time. That these guys kind of fits into that mold. It's and they're they have the standard two guitar, bass, drums, and then Colin Hendricks, the singer, sings. But they also there's kind of like a progressive kind of thing going through the three albums too. Like especially with they're not afraid to use different instrumentation. Like you could find on songs with electric guitars. There's also they're layering them with acoustics. There's piano. There's mandolin. There's
Right.
organ, mellotron, cello. So they're really like multi instrumental players. Colin's super talented. Um, the current lineup of the band is Colin Hendrick, guitars and vocals, Alex Haslam on guitar, Aaron Hay is their drummer, and Andy Shackleton on bass. That's a lineup. This is from the fourth album. Um, Again, just a solid band. So this is a solid start. It's you know, maybe like a 7 out of 10 record, something like that. Like I
Sure,
go back to it, I do listen to it. Um, but it's a good place to start. It's not they would progress. They would build from here.
sure,
Um,
sure.
so the one Mike and I were talking earlier, and I was telling about this. Like when this record came out, here like two, like
Yeah.
dude. When I talk about Wishbone Ash,
I was just gonna say that's
I mean,
paying
look at the
homage.
cover.
Yeah.
Like when I first saw this album cover, I'm like, oh, that looks like a Wishbone Ash record there. And
Little
you can
nod.
definitely again, you really spot it in the music. But this album now is like a couple steps up from
Right.
Prelude. This is a really great. When I heard this record, I was like, oh, now I'm fucking sold on these guys. Like this record is killer. It's everything that I liked about the first one and then more. The
Right.
songwriting's better, the playing's better, the production's better. Um, the vocals, everything great on this record. Again on Bad Omen, that's their label to date. They do distribution now through Metal Blade.
Sure.
Um, but so unique looking too. Like they kind of have this tunic thing
Mm-hmm.
going on. Like they don't do like the leather, denim and leather thing. They have a really cool. They just have a unique vibe about them. Not only do
Yeah.
they sound a little bit different, but they look different than other bands, which sets them apart. Like in a lot of ways. So this is a really great record. Um,
Is there a little bit of a folk vibe that goes throughout
yes,
there too? Because some of the samples that I checked out, and it kind of correlates with like what their appearance is. There did seem to be a little bit of a folk vibe in kind of weaving its way in and out of some of the songs.
yeah, that's probably the word. That's I'm trying. I get too cute for school sometimes. Too cool for school. Like that's really the word I should have used instead of pastoral. Like it's kind of got like there's definitely like a folk vibe at
Sure.
times
Okay.
weaved in. It's mostly heavy, but there's a couple of mellower moments on the records. But and you're never gonna get bowled over by
Mm-hmm.
their heaviness, but it definitely fits in um the realm of metal. That they're definitely part of this new wave of traditional heavy metal. Their sound, like again, like you can hear um, bits and pieces of what different bands during the new wave of British heavy metal did. Plus, there's like I said, some of that '70s progressive kind of
Yeah.
vibe going on there. Now, this is the album that really knocked it out of the park for me with them. I love two So Yearn, but this is three Pentecost. This is when I think it felt like the band really started to pick up some steam and gain a little bit more notoriety. They had a video for a song called Dry Bones, which is a phenomenal song. This is one of those songs where, first of all, the chorus, you'll never get it out of your head. And this is one of those songs where Colin like hits one of those notes that you're like, whoa. And the first
Yeah.
time I heard it, I was like, holy hell, did you just see that? So this album is 2020. Um, and you can see
Yep.
these dudes here. The inside it's a really nice freaking package too, man. This nice thick cardboard, but really cool stuff. One of the things that's unique about Witch Hazel, and maybe you could tell by the some of these titles by this point, this is Pentecost. The next album is called Sacraments.
Right.
Um, the themes of their songs very centered in Christian themes, but they are not. They do not consider themselves a Christian metal band or a Christian band per se. A
Sure.
couple of guys in the band are agnostics, and Colin is a Christian, um, but they don't consider themselves a Christian band. But in the great tradition of many bands, I mean, there's a lot you can pull from the Bible and
Sure.
Christianity, to put into the lyrics. They're never. I don't feel like these guys are preachy at all. I feel like it's a little bit more subtle than what you think of when you think of, when people think of Christian metal, they'll think about Striper and
Yeah.
some of those bands. I don't think this is as overt as that. Some of it, you can tell that they're Christian themed, but
Sure.
man, I really like this record. I mean, it's like in every way, like again, the productions, the production's getting better. It's real
Yeah.
pro sounding. Just the songs are so good on here. The playing is great. I mean, I can't express enough. I'm a sucker for double guitars, and this band is one of the greatest double guitar bands that I know of. I mean, I put them in. You know, I'm not going to put them up above Thin Lizzy, Maiden, and Wishbone Ash yet, but they're in the conversation for the
Sure.
top. In the top 10 for me. I mean, maybe top 5 or 6. I mean, I just love what they do with the guitars. It's never it never feels like they're doing it just to do it. Some bands you feel like they're kind of forcing it or they don't do it. It always just seems like they do it just enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so many good songs on here. Here's the Fight, Spirit and Fire, I'm Redeemed, Dry Bones is phenomenal. Reap the Harvest, Ancient of Days, really great record. I like that cover too. Your sword there. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna get like again, like it's definitely like they're definitely like a metal band, but they get their own thing going on. And then this was my favorite album in 23. This is For Sacrament. Um, man, I just, from top to bottom, I mean, it's one of those records. Like I just think this one and Pentecost, you, every song I think is really great on here. The Fire's Control is an awesome opener. Time and Doubt, tremendous. Angel of Light is great. Strongheart, um, Cold Light, Endless Battle. I mean, just song after song. I mean, I don't know where I would like to find the well that Colin is pulling the water from for these songs, because this is just like, to do one great album is one thing. To do, you know, four really killer records,
Yeah.
I mean, in a row is like, and not only that, but wait, there's more. Like over the years, like they got splits. Like here's a split they did with Spell, another cool band, by the way.
Nice.
Um,
Spells great. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, this is from 2022, a song called the Witch Hazel song's Chain Yourself. The Spell song on here is really good. It's called New World. Really cool band from Canada. You guys should check them out for sure. We'll probably get around to them on one of these.
For sure.
Um, Here's a single they put out around Christmas time in 23. This is called King of Israel. Again, this is like one of the more like obvious,
Oh, sure.
nods to Christianity. Really great song. Kind of on the, it's not mellow mellow, but it's kind of like in that somber, like kind of mellow. It's got a lot of piano in it. Really good, kind of like you know, I think kind of like epic sounding. And they did an arrangement of Old Lang Syne that is really cool on the flip side of this. I mean,
That's
it's
cool.
cool record. And then this is like the most recent thing they've actually put out is a split with Phantom Spell, another killer band,
Yeah. Yeah.
related to Seven Sisters, who I'm definitely going to be talking about one of these months. But the song "Ride On" here is super Thin Lizzy like and upbeat and catchy, um, and just like, I mean, by the way, the Phantom Spell song on here is called Palantiri, is awesome. Uh,
Nice.
they're more, whereas Seven Sisters is more of a metal band. Like Phantom Spell's more like a progressive
Yep.
kind of thing. There is some metal
Good stuff.
in there. It's really good. But so yeah, I mean, again, I just love these guys. I'm already looking forward to the next record. I was so bummed that they played Hell's Heroes last year, and I really wanted to go. Like I really wanted to go. The first of all, the whole bill
Was
was
nuts.
killer, as is this year's. But
Yeah.
there's always a couple bands like these guys. And there's a band called the Night Eternal now that are playing this year. That it's like they're that band. They were neck and neck with Witch Hazel for me in 23 for record of the year. And now they're playing this year, and Primordial's playing this year, but Witch
Yeah.
Hazel played last year, and it like really hurt my heart not to go see that. And they didn't like really tour. I don't think they toured around it. I haven't had a chance to see them live. I'm dying to see them live though. The videos I've seen online of them live, they're tremendous live. They
Yeah.
sound great. Colin sounds great live. Just a really cool band. For me, I think I'm going to recommend 5 songs for you guys to check out, to really get a vibe for these guys. These are like the best songs from the records for me, or just um, from Prelude, "We Will Be Strong." I think that's the song to check out from that one. Again, the whole record's are good. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm an album guy. Like, I'll go listen to a whole record if someone. I'm telling you, you do yourself a favor and listen to the records. But just to get a vibe, man. One song per. So from 2, Sojourn, "The Devil Is Here." From 3, Pentecost, "Dry Bones." Amazing song.
Yeah. That's cool
From
too.
4, yeah, from 4, Sacrament, "Time and Doubt." Really great song. And then I'm kind of cheating because uh, I said 5, but I couldn't make up my mind. So "Ride On," or if you want to get another side of the band, like to kind of get a little bit rounded on, what they're, how far they go. I mean, yeah, check out like King of Israel is really cool. There's some stuff like similar to this on the. There's like usually like one song per record that's a little bit more on the moodier, mellow
Hmm.
kind of side, but this song is really really great. You can't go wrong with any of this though. Those are some suggestions I have to check them out. I'm not sure. I haven't seen too much news about what they have in the works. That Sacrament just came out in 23. It's 25 now. So they've been going at a clip of about a new record every couple of years. So I'm hoping we get something new from them soon. I'm hoping like their popularity does seem to be picking up. I'm hoping I get a chance to see them um, again. Just a killer band for me. It fills that space like where my favorite bands of all time have been. I hear music from these guys and it moves me. It what's the word? I'm like what's your English word for it? Uh I saw someone put something on some meme up the other day that said if you space it on a word, just say what's the English word for it. Make yourself seem like you're cultivated or whatever, but inspired.
Mm,
I was talking to Jay from Argus, and he was asking, well, what like this is the kind of music when I put this on, I'm like, man, like if I could, it makes me want to like do stuff.
yeah,
Like it really like is inspiring to me as a musician, as a singer to like I on one hand, like it inspires me. On the other hand, I'm like, these guys are so good. I don't even know why I'd even bother because I'll never do anything I get like as good as these guys are doing right now. But again, Witch Hazel on Bad Omen Records. Man, seriously, do yourself a favor. Check these out. If you like Thin Lizzy, if you like Wishbone Ash, Maiden, Pagan Altar, Angel Witch, maybe a little bit. Um, just really good. Great. I can't recommend them enough. They're easily one of my top three of
yeah,
the current bands that are out right now, among many great bands. They're a band that I know I'm going to be listening to these records years and years from now. Like there's stuff I pick up all the time that I think is great, and then but I know these are going to be these are records that are going to be like long standing
yeah.
part of
It sounds like it's one of those bands for you, like we used to do, years ago. When you were committed to a band, you bought everything they put out, regardless if it was good, bad, or otherwise. So,
yeah.
it sounds like that's a band. Witch Hazel's a band in that category for you. That no matter what, you'll be buying it.
Yeah, it's definitely a buy on announcement, buy
Yeah,
on release day, pre-order it,
yeah,
buy sight unseen,
yeah,
sight unheard now. I feel like these dudes can't do any wrong right now. Another thing too, real quick, for people that like are interested in like extra content kind of stuff, Colin puts up videos all the time of him playing. He'll put up like little videos on his own page of him at a piano playing other songs or playing Witch Hazel stuff, but also playing like other band stuff, popular stuff. So it's there's always some interesting stuff going on. He seems like an interesting dude, and just I can't say enough good things about him. I'm
See, that's cool. I eat
have
that kind
diarrhea
of
of the
shit
mouth
up.
right now. I just I'm just
You're
gonna stop here. Check him out.
you're very
Witch Hazel.
passionate about Witch Hazel. There's
If I
nothing
had a
wrong with
record,
it.
if you want to start with, I'd start here and go backwards.
Yeah.
But they're all great. I would say start with this or Pentecost or so. Like listen to Prelude, maybe save it for. It's not the best place to start. It's a really good record. I think once you like them, you'll appreciate it more.
Yeah.
You might like it. You probably like it. I mean, it's good, but I mean, if you really want to get knocked on your ass right away, start. So I'm
Yeah,
enthusiastic. Damn it!
that's a good thing. That's a good response to have. See, that's gonna, you know, I've always had that band, in my back pocket. I don't own any albums by them. I've checked them out on YouTube here and there. It's just, it's always been one in the back of my head. I'll check them out when I can. But dude, you convinced me, man. I think as soon as we log off of here, I'm gonna. That's my dive
That's
in
what
for
I'm
later
talking
on.
about.
Like,
Yeah.
oh God, Jesus. All right, that's definitely a good one. The little bit of research I did beforehand on them, just so I could kind of, be on par with you. Yeah, I found some really good stuff today too that I wasn't familiar with, and yeah, you convinced me, Butch. I'm going to do it now. All right, my turn. I did not pull any of these albums. Their
I
latest
see
one
one behind you though.
right behind me for reference, but I can splash some images or something. But Um, when you and I talked about what the parameters would be as far as, a newer band that's, keeping the flame, and we said, well, as long as their debut is no older than about 10 years or so. So I'm right on the cusp. I went with Sorcerer out of Sweden, and
Yeah, for
the,
sure.
these guys, they actually go back quite a ways. Their first incarnation came in 1988, and they did, the whole demo thing and all kinds of stuff floating around. Their final demo came out in 92, and at that point it looked like it was going to be Sorcerer and Candlemass were just on parallel paths. They were going to be the next big Brotherhood of Doom, and then Johnny Hagel quit, and he went and he joined Tiamat. So no more Sorcerer. But all those demos became really, really, I don't want to call them like cult demos, but very popular in the underground. And it was a very, very well received band. So they actually got invited for a reunion of sorts to play at the Hammer of Doom in 2010. And, they were like, well, yeah, maybe, maybe not. There's no pressure. Well, then they all kind of decided, well, okay, we can do that. And it wasn't all the original members. They've had personnel changes over the years. It's a very stable, for the most part, lineup now. Anyway, they did Hammer of Doom, and to nobody's surprise, it was a gigantic response from that, and people
Hmm.
wanted more and more. So then they ended up doing a couple more festivals, and the more that the guys talked, they're like, "Well, shit, why don't we see if we can put an album together?" So that brought us all the way up to 2015. And In the Shadow of the Inverted Cross was unleashed across the world. That was the first proper album that I heard, Sorcerer. I heard little bits and pieces of demos or whatever made its way onto YouTube. But from the first time I heard that, I was like, "Oh, this is some good epic doom stuff." There's definitely the Candlemass comparisons. They're not reinventing the wheel by any means, but it's a way that this band has evolved to present day that really shows that they've come into their own, and now they've crafted their skill and they're pushing the boundaries to see where they can
Hmm.
go with that. So yeah, 2015 saw In the Shadow of the Inverted Cross. Amazing album. Just Anders Engberg is just he's a clean singer, but he's got great range, but he's one of those singers that just soars, when they
Godly.
hit those choruses and just, we always talk about that headspace. Man, he takes you there. Excellent, excellent start. And I gotta say too, for a debut album and for everything that came after, their production on these albums has been stellar. Absolutely stellar. I got no complaints about the way anything sounds on any of them. 2017, The Crowning of the Fire King came next. Another brilliant album. Still in that same vein of Candlemass, doomy, very epic, very grandiose. But you're kind of starting to hear slight changes of like, okay, how can we craft this to make it our own? How can we be a little bit more unique and between 2010, 2020. I mean, there was a lot of Doom that came out and it got a little saturated. And it's like, okay, how do you make yourself stand out? So to me, it was becoming evident that they were really trying to say, okay, let's make a statement. Let's be the band that people talk about, not in the same breath as Candlemass or Solitude Eternus. That's another one that they throw in there for comparisons too. So, Lamenting of the Innocent came out in 2020, and that's the one right there where things started to pivot a little bit. And this is where, and I know you and I kind of discussed this a little bit in the past, where I say, for me, there's a very big Evergrey presence in that
Hmm.
album and the latest one. A little bit more proggy, not so much doom, a little bit more traditional, a little bit more just metal, but again, very, very epic, very storytelling. Just it's a pleasure to put the headphones on and just get lost in these albums. And then 2023, this was one of my favorites. It was in my top 10. Reign of the Reaper. I mean, this is it. This is what they were striving for. They hit it out of the park. Just, I mean, everything, every aspect you could ask for is right there. And it's got a little bit of that Evergrey, but it's got a little bit more. Everything they do is very not in a negative way, but it's very dark. There's that
Hmm.
very that dark vibe. And the latest one, it's got like that Nevermore vibe to it. There's a little bit of Dream Theater, and even Anders. He's got I can't think of you might know the lead singer from Shadow Gallery. They even kind of hit upon that a little bit too. And there's a couple of instances where it's like right away I'm like, ooh, that's like Shadow Gallery, which is awesome. And also too, and I think you and I discussed this at one point, the Tony Martin era, Black
I
Sabbath.
I was just gonna ask you.
Yeah,
I really feel like uh musically in general, there's a strong like Headless Cross tier kind of
yeah,
vibe to it's like where they're they get the doom stuff going on like Candlemass. They fit into the epic doom thing, but I also feel it's kind of like leans heavy into like that era of Sabbath. And I think Anders sounds a ton like Tony Martin. Like
yeah,
at times, like if you close your eyes, they could be brothers. Like they're both
yeah.
killer. And I think he's got the Tony Martin is strong with him.
Yes, absolutely. And even, the guitarists, Peter Halgren and Christian Nyman, even they said, I can't remember which one it was, but they're like, yeah, the Tony Martin's like, honestly, some of our favorite era of Sabbath material. So, the way that all blends in, yeah, Anders does sound incredibly a lot like Tony Martin at times too. And actually, during the shutdown, they put out digitally on YouTube. They kind of released one single at a time. They were doing some cover songs, and they did
Yeah,
do "When Death Calls," and it sounds
it's
freaking
killer.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's great.
it's it's amazing. And I know that they were going to make that into I don't know if it was like a 10-inch or whatever, but they were going to start putting that inside. I think it was Lamenting. They were going to reissue that with that reverence on there too. So, but yeah, I truly feel, and I'm really excited for, to see where this next album goes. Now that I feel they've really cemented themselves as a standalone band away from comparisons. So this next
Hmm.
album should really, really kick some serious ass, man. But
Yeah.
okay, so if you are just starting in, any of those albums is a good starting place. I would probably start with um, Lamenting of the Innocent, and then Reign of the Reaper, just because those are the two newest ones, and those are the ones that have kind of set them apart. Work your way backwards, but I mean, to be honest, you could jump in anywhere. They're really that good. Five songs that represent the best stuff. In the Shadow of the Inverted Cross, the Dark Tower of the Sorcerer. Now, this is
What a title that I love that title alone.
tell me that
Like
ain't
I
that's
would
just
buy that
metal.
record just for that title.
That's just metal right there. Um, yeah, that is just straight dark doom. I mean, the title it says it all right there. You get that mental image. That's the soundtrack to it right there. Off Reign of the Reaper, the very first song, Morning Star, sets the tone so well because everything that you experience on that album, it's almost like Morning Star is like a trailer to a movie. It's like this is what you're going to
Hmm.
experience through this whole album, and it gives you a little taste of everything, and it does it to a T. So, and as you listen to it, and like you said, listen to the record. Don't just pick and choose. Sit down, make it an experience. Listen to the whole record. You'll be so satisfied at the end of it. Um, the title track from off of Lamenting of the Innocent. It's got that Nevermore vibe in there, very dark, and the leads just kill. That's like the most memorable one for me. It's in terms of guitar playing. Every time that one comes on, there's a couple of Nevermore songs too where Jeff Loomis just, we always say hits that brown note.
Yeah.
There's some brown notes going on in in a couple of the Sorcerer songs too, and that's one of them. Crown the Fire King, abandoned by the gods. Very plotting, very, very moody. Anders just soars on that one. I mean, that is an absolute showcase for him. And that's definitely one where you're going to go, ooh, Tony Martin. That sounds like Tony Martin. So that alone makes that a great one. And then actually the closing song from Reign of the Reaper called Break of Dawn. It's it starts off just massive and then it slowly crescendos into some acoustic passages and it's like the perfect closing song to
Hmm.
kind of like bring you back down after that experience and journey you just went on. So it's just, as soon as it's over you're like, "Oh, I think I'll go put it on again."
Yeah.
So but yep, so that's for me, man. Sorcerer is just checking all the boxes here, and I think we're gonna get some really good stuff from them. I think they're gonna be around for quite a while. It is unfortunate they have not made it over here at all. There was talk a couple, 3, 4 years ago. Spillage and Tony Spillman and those guys, because they were both No Dust Records was kind of working back and forth with them, and there was
Hmm.
talk that Spillage could go over there, and then Sorcerer could come here, and things just didn't materialize. And as of right now, they do go on some decent tours over there. They do a lot of festivals, which pretty much any European band does. But
Yeah.
hopefully, kind of like you said with Witch Hazel, as soon as I get a chance, or as soon as somebody brings them over here, Hell's Heroes, maybe I'll get a chance to see them. So, so keep an eye on Sorcerer, everybody. They're one to watch.
Yeah, I would love to see them live. And man, I don't know about you, but I think, as I know both of us really love Doom. And one of the things that I like about Sorcerer a lot is that it's a really, when you set out to play epic Doom metal, it's really hard to do something that stands out above mediocre. First of all,
Oh yeah,
unfortunately for every band, you're if you play that style, you're almost automatically in the shadow of Candlemass. So you're
yeah,
automatically going to get the comparisons. But um, one of the things Sorcerer definitely does is they keep it interesting. The songwriting is always top notch. There's a lot of like kind of like epic doom bands that like you listen to it, and it's like the pieces are there, but it just doesn't ever coalesce into something that could be truly great. Whereas like Sorcerer, I think, like you said, they've definitely set their path. They're their own thing. Yeah, you could try to fit it in this epic doom metal box. They're doing it as well as anyone right now. But they're really I think it's unfair to just put them in that right in that category. But it's a really epic doom is really tough to play, and
yeah.
these guys like totally like pull it off.
I think if you had the time and owned all the albums and you went start to finish from album one to album four, I think it would be very easily for you to discern that they're not so much in that doom category anymore. I mean, there's a lot of elements and traits still in place for sure. And whether they're doing this consciously or not, they are definitely expanding their horizons and they are implementing more, traditional metal or a little bit of new wave British heavy. They're branching out. I applaud them for that too, because so many bands start off great and then immediately paint themselves into a corner and there's
Yep.
nowhere to go. Electric Wizard is like that for me a lot. Those first couple albums, fantastic, and then to me it was just a carbon copy one right after the other, and I just lost interest. I don't believe Sorcerer is doing that. I think they are remaining. I think they want to remain viable. They want to remain unique, and they want to remain. They want to stick around for a while, which would be great. Like I said,
Yeah, I
I
hope they
can't wait
do.
for the next one. Yeah, for sure.
Same. Yeah, Reign of the Reaper was awesome. All the records are really good. I really enjoyed that album when it came out. I'm with you on these guys.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So there you go. Sorcerer, Witch Hazel, Keepers of the Flame.
You're damn right.
So, like we said earlier, this is a segment that we are hoping to do once a month, where Butch and I will each bring a new, so to speak, band to the table to bring to you. So you can see that there are other bands out there putting out quality metal for you to check out.
Yeah, and hey, like we always say, comment below. Let us know who you're listening to. Like, we're Mike and I are the kind of guys that are like we're always like looking to check out stuff
Always.
we haven't heard before.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. Like I listen to I don't know how many new records like every week. Just it's like I was saying, I'm always chasing that thrill.
Yep.
So let us know who you like. In general, if we've heard of them, they will be talking about them at some point. But if we haven't, I want to know what you guys are into. Put the comment here. Go over to our Facebook page. Tell us there. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. Those
Get
comments are for
involved.
you. Get involved. Tell your friends. Tell your friends to get involved.
Get up. Get
We
into it.
love
Get
suggestions.
involved. Like and
Like and
subscribe.
subscribe. No,
And
for
Mike is
real.
over
For real.
here.
There's Butch trying to learn.
Learning.
I agree. I agree, though. We would love to hear from you. Definitely hit the comments, give us suggestions, tell us the bands that you're listening to. Too, I agree with Butch 1,000%. So
Yeah, and if you like these bands that we're talking about, I want to know what your favorite songs are by both of these bands or when you got turned on to them,
yeah, and we might have
for
missed
sure.
something. Maybe you picked something out of there that we never would have expected. So yeah, tell us all about it.
Yeah. Right
All
on.
right, right on. All right, so once again, we appreciate everybody who has subscribed. We appreciate everybody that's checked us out on Facebook and following that page. We're going to keep on going. We're having a blast. So stick around for the ride with us. We got so much other stuff coming up. So, all right, Butch, are you ready? We're going to nail it this time. I promise
Yeah.
you.
Here it
We
comes.
just jinxed it too. We
Yeah.
will see everybody again on the next episode of
For the
For the
sake
Sake of Heaviness.
heaviness.
Bye bye.